Page 67, without the ohms wheel. A water heater draws 12 amps of current. When plugged into a 240 volt socket, calculate its resistance. So in this formula, power is not an issue. We need to know the EIR formula. E equals I times R. And we are looking for R. So we want R over here, and then anything that's not R on this side. So let's divide away the I. And so I'm left with resistance equals 240 over 12. So resistance is, bring down a 0, and then 12 into 24 is 220 ohms. A television requires 300 watts to operate and runs on 110 volts. What is the current drawn? So this time we do P equals IE. We are looking for I. So that means everything that's not I needs to be on this side. And that would be the E, that has to move. So I is going to equal 300 divided by 110. And if you put that in your calculator, you're going to get a repeating decimal. So I'm going to say 2.72, and that 72 repeats itself to infinity. And that is current, so that would be in amps. So about 3 amps. A washing machine has a resistance of 50 ohms and runs on 220 volts. How much power does it use? So we don't have a formula that groups P, E, and R. So I'm going to need to find I, and then I can do the power formula. So I is in this formula. And we're looking for I. So let's put it there, and then anything that's not I would be on this side. So the R needs to move. And so I will be 220 divided by 50. I believe it's 4.4, but let's be sure. Yes. 4 4/10 amps. And once you find that, you can find power. P equals IE. We want to know P. So everything that's not P should be on this side, and so it is. So I'll use that 4.4. And then the voltage, which is 20 with a 0, 220, sorry. And so that is going to be 4.4 times 220 is 968. So the power is 968 watts. And that's the answer we're looking for. A 100 watt light bulb operates at 220 volts. Calculate the resistance. So again, I need to know a variable that is not in a formula that I have. In other words, I have to use both formulas. So I'm going to start with PIE. That will tell us I. So we're looking for I. So let's divide away the E. And we're left with I equals 100 over 220. That's interesting. It's a repeating decimal. So you get, I'm just going to leave it as an exact answer and use that repeater sign. Then I will use EIR to find resistance. So we want to know R. Anything that's not R needs to move. So let's move the I over here. So R is going to be E, 220, divided by 0.45. That's current. And that looks incredibly strange to me, but I'm not an electrician, so I will go with that. 488.8, I'm going to say approximately 489. And that is ohms.